Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the powers of the president. This is part of the legal studies of second semester students in most Indian law universities. Now, let's look at this chapter, which comes as a part of the Indian Constitution. We will look at the powers and privileges of the president. We will also look at few case laws which are relevant in the course of our study. We will look at the use and misuse of powers of the presidents as well. We understand that since 1950, India has come under the presidentialship of very reputed personalities. Now we are at our 14th president. His name is Ramnath Kovind. The president, being the head of the nation and the first citizen of the nation, has a wide range of powers and privileges which are given to him under various provisions of the Indian Constitution. At this point of time, we understand that we have to make a clear evaluation of which powers and privileges have been used and misused too. We will also discuss about the articles relevant to this topic. Article 52 to 61 of the Constitution deals with the duties, powers, and responsibilities of the president. Article 52 and 53 states that there shall be a president of India and he is the executive head of the nation, and these executive powers vested on him will be exercised either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with the Indian Constitution. Article 54 and 55 deals with the process of election of the president. The president is indirectly elected by an electoral college comprising of the Parliament of India, which is both the houses, and the legislative assemblies of each of the Indian states and territories, who themselves are all directly elected. According to Article 56, once a person is elected as the President of India, he shall hold the office for a term of 5 years, and there is also a provision under the article which allows the President to resign from his position by addressing a letter to the Vice President under his hand. Stating his willingness to resign from the position. Apart from this, a president can also be removed for the violation of the constitutional requisites by the process of impeachment. And this process of impeachment is discussed under Article 61 of the Indian Constitution. Now let's look at how a violation can become a grounds. Violation of the Constitution is the only grounds for impeachment of the president. The impeachment charges can be initiated in either of the houses of the parliament with at least quarter members of the house signing the charges, and later on a 14-day notice should be given to the president. Then one house should pass the resolution with a majority of 2/3 of the total membership of the houses and send it to the other house. The second house should investigate the charges, and the president should be given the right to appear and to be represented at such an investigation to prove his innocence. If the second house also passes the resolution with 2/3 majority of the total membership of the house, then the president stands impeached from that date. According to Article 58, for being elected or for being the president of the nation, there are a set of conditions which has to be satisfied, such as the person should be a citizen of India, he should have completed the age of 35, he should be qualified for election as a member of the House of the People, and further, he shall not hold any office of profit under the territory of India or any state or under any local or other authority under the control of the said sorts. Once elected as the president, one shall be entitled to all the privileges, benefits, emoluments, and allowances mentioned under Article 59 as long as he continues in the position of a president. Now let's look at the powers of the president in detail. The basic and fundamental duty or responsibility of the president is to be a preserving factor a protecting head and a defendant of the Indian constitution and the law of the country as part of his oath. Now, the president is the common head of all independent constitutional entities. All his actions, recommendations, and supervisory powers over the executive and legislative entities of India shall be used in accordance to uplifting the Indian constitution. Now let's look at the legislative power. The legislative power is constitutionally vested by the Parliament of India, which is headed by the President. The President inaugurates the Parliament by addressing it after the general elections and also at the beginning of the first session every year as per Article 87(1). The presidential address on these occasions is generally meant to outline the new policies of the government. Through this, the president is acknowledging that he is aware of the government policies and decisions, and he is showing his assent to the policies. All the bills passed by the parliament can become laws only after receiving the nod from the president as per Article 111. Now, if a bill is sent to the president, he may give his assent to the bill or may even withhold his assent from the bill, or he may even return the bill to the parliament for reconsideration. If the bill is again passed by both the houses of the parliament, the president shall have to give his assent. Now, when either of the houses of the Parliament of India is not in session and if the government feels the need for an immediate procedure, the President can promulgate ordinances which have the same force and effect as an act passed by the Parliament under the legislative powers. But these ordinances are temporary or interim in nature, and their continuance is subject to parliamentary approval. These ordinances remain valid for not more than 6 weeks from the date of the Parliament being convened unless approved by it earlier. The President nominates 2 members from the Anglo-Indian community to the Lok Sabha and 12 members to the Rajya Sabha from people who have acquired special knowledge in art, science, literature and social sciences. The President can dissolve the House of the Parliament before the expiry of its term. So these are the special powers that he holds. Now, the President of India is the head of the executive of the Union of India. Therefore, the executive powers are vested in the hands of the President. The President appoints the governors of the state, the judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts, the Prime Minister and the other ministers in consultation with the Prime Minister. He is the Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Army, Navy and Air Force of the Union. He is responsible for the administration of the Union territories and appoints commissioners and governors. He has the power to remove the Council of Ministers, the governors of state and the Attorney General of India. According to the Article 194, the President is duty bound to enforce the decrees of the Supreme Court. Let's look at the judicial powers. We have discussed the executive and legislative powers. Let's move on to the judicial powers. The primary duty of the President is to preserve, protect and defend the Constitution and the law of India as per Article 60. The President appoints the Chief Justice of the Union Judiciary and other judges on the advice of the Chief Justice. He dismisses the judges, and only if 2 houses of the Parliament pass resolution to that effect by a 2/3 majority of the members present at that time. Now, the President has the power to grant pardon. He also has the power to relook at the punishments to any person who has been convicted by a court of law. Apart from this, under Article 352, 356 and 360 respectively, the President enjoys emergency power and can declare national state of financial emergency. India was under the rule of Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, Dr. APS Abdul Kalam, who have been considered as really renowned presidents. Now, there were many others, but I have just quoted 2 of them here. Now, Fakhruddin Ali Ahmad was considered as the weakest president of India. I'll tell you why. He was in power during the case of Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi 1975. I want you to go back and look at this case where there was an issue of abuse of Article 352. This period was called as a dark phase in the history of independent India. I want you to go back and check your textbook for this. This was the time when emergency power was declared in India. Now, emergency rule was declared in India. Now, under Article 72 of the Constitution, the President is endowed with the right to grant pardons. Within a period of 28 months, we saw how Pratibha Patil was able to grant pardons to many people, who were otherwise sentenced to death. Now, please go back and check that, which is available either in your textbooks. It's also available in most online sources. Now, let's look at an important case, which is A.K. Roy versus Union of India. It was held that the National Security Ordinance is valid and not violative of Article 14, and the ordinance issued by the President under Article 123, which is Ordinance Passing Power of the President, stands on the same footing as laws passed by the legislatures. Now, I have quoted two cases here. There are many more cases which you could refer to. Now, I would like to conclude by saying that we still will have to go back, check our textbooks to get a better understanding. This is a basic footing to understand this topic. This discussion would serve as an introductory session to your understanding of the powers of the President. Thank you very much. My name is Bindu Zachariah George.